All right, let's dive into something that, on the surface, looks like a pretty standard math lesson. But you're about to see that hidden inside these numbers is this really profound lesson on morality, trust, and what it actually means to live a good life.
Yep, you heard that right. The source material we're looking at today is literally a math curriculum for 6th graders, 11 and 12-year-olds. It covers things like lenders, borrowers, and credit. Sounds pretty standard, doesn't it?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because this lesson, it's using financial literacy as, like, a gateway to teach something way, way deeper. It's a specific moral framework for life, one that's built on character and trust. So let's unpack how it actually works.
Okay, so first things first, let's cover the basics. The lesson kicks off with the idea of a credit report. You can think of it as your financial report card, basically. It's just a history of how you've handled borrowing money. And for lenders, it's all about one thing: judging how trustworthy you are. So you might be asking, why do lenders care so much about this stuff? It's simple. It's all about risk. This report helps them sidestep borrowers who, well, might just not pay them back. And get this, your history is what determines the interest rate you're offered. The whole system, when you boil it down, is set up to reward people who are responsible with their money.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. You've got two paths, right? If you're trustworthy, boom, you get a better deal, a lower interest rate. But if you look like a risk, you could get turned down flat or get hit with some really, really high interest. The lesson doesn't pull any punches about the consequences.
So here's the real kicker. The whole point of this math lesson is to frame credit as something more than just a financial tool. It's presented as a simple test of your character. Are you someone who keeps your word?
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the analogy they use here. They're comparing a lender picking a borrower to a teacher picking a student to be a project leader. And in both situations, what's the deciding factor? A track record. It's about who has proven they're responsible. It's a clever way to make this abstract money stuff feel super personal, right?
And then, bam, the lesson takes a sharp turn from the practical to the profound. It brings in this pretty heavy warning from the biblical book of Proverbs. Suddenly, we're not just talking about interest rates anymore. This is a deep, spiritual warning about what debt can do to you.
And that verse, it pulls back the curtain on the real mission here. See, this math lesson isn't a standalone thing. It's one piece of a huge educational philosophy called the Godly Wisdom Framework. The math is just a vehicle, The real destination is all about moral and spiritual growth.
And this quote from Romans, this is like the mission statement for the entire curriculum. It sets up this big contrast, right? On one side, you have being carnally minded, basically focused on worldly stuff. On the other, spiritually minded. The whole point isn't just to make kids smart, it's to nurture a spiritual way of thinking. Because according to this curriculum, that is the only way to find life and peace. So what's the big problem that this whole framework is designed to fix? Well, according to the source, the problem isn't just out there in the world, it's inside modern education itself.
The core argument here is that when you divorce knowledge from a moral compass, what they call God's spirit, things go wrong. You get all these negative outcomes. You create people who are really clever, but they're not at peace. They have wisdom, maybe, but not righteousness. You get educated folks making really destructive choices. The question they're posing is powerful. What good is an education if it just leads to a life of hurt, for you and for the people around you?
So, in response to that problem, this curriculum offers a totally different path forward, a completely different vision for what education should be. And the solution they propose is, honestly, very simple and direct. It's about weaving godly values into every single academic subject. The core belief is that an education without morality isn't just missing something, it's actually dangerous. It will hurt people. And you can see just how big this vision is. We're not talking about a single lesson plan here. No, this is a whole framework that spans a kid's entire school career. It starts with basic values in preschool, builds character in middle school, which is exactly where our credit lesson comes in, and the whole thing culminates in preparing a 12th grader for a life of peace. I mean, the ultimate goal here is, it's huge. It's incredibly ambitious. This isn't about making good students. It's about shaping adults who live with integrity. The idea is that this creates a ripple effect, right? It shapes families, and then those families shape entire societies to be more peaceful and faith-grounded. So we end up right back where we started, with a really big question. This 6th grade math lesson, of all things, forces us to think about what education is even for. Is the goal just to create clever minds that can handle complex problems? Or is it something bigger, to build whole human beings who can lead peaceful lives? It's pretty clear which side of that question this curriculum lands on.